Hey guys, welcome to the Foolish Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. It's Michigan's bye week, so there's not a ton to talk about, really. I don't really want to rehash into Michigan State stuff. I think that's been drawn out for too many days, I should say, and it's going to get all redug up at media days, and of course the week before the game next year. So let's move on. And I had some thoughts as we hit the Michigan bye week. 7-1. Can't really complain about that. Our loss at Notre Dame at night to now a top 3 team in the country by 7 points. The offense back then was not what it is today. I've seen many people say, oh, what would happen if we played each other again? Well, sadly that goes back to why are we playing such a tough game as the first game of the year. We should play a more cupcake type game, a MAC team or something would have been much more preferred. Anyways, moving on. Michigan bye week thoughts. First, I got 3 of them. First, Quinn Nordin. I don't know what to think about him. He, on the year, is 33 out of 34 in extra points and 11 out of 15 on field goals. Not great. And then for me, I reduced that down a little bit because he's 1 for 2 on 50 plus, right? So I took away the 50-yarders because he's got the leg, but I don't want to hold that miss to him. So he could be 11 out of 14 or 10 out of 13 if you get rid of the 50-yarders. It's not so much as makes and misses. He's still making the kicks, but man, they look terrible. They're like weird things going like this way instead of a good kick goes this way. It's like you saw the game at Michigan State. That missed field goal just looked terrible. It didn't get more than like 10 yards above the ground. I would just boom, and you look at the replay and it's like it didn't slip or anything. His extra points were okay. It's just a little concerning because honestly, when we got him as a freshman, I thought he was like, no doubt he was going to be drafted. He was kicking like 50 yards in that first game against Florida. But, he went through that tough patch last year after playing at Penn State. That's where he committed to, then he dropped it and went to Michigan instead. And when he went there, he was all jacked up and he missed like a lot of kicks in that game. We got blown out anyways. But that kind of just threw him off. I remember, if you remember then, like kind of Coach Harbaugh like challenged him on the sideline later in the season. It was like, so many misses in a row. It was like it was his last strike, and then he started making his kicks, and he made all his kicks kind of the rest of the way. So we got to get that figured out. I don't know if that means we have another kicker lined up, or if they're going to try and fix Nordin. I've heard rumors that maybe he's injured, maybe he pulled something. If that's the case, I mean, does that mean he's our best option and the other ones behind him aren't that great? I don't know. So we got to figure out the kicking during this bye week because there's probably going to be a tight game, and missing those 3 points or missing 6 points if you miss 2 field goals is really going to hurt. Against Penn State and especially Ohio State, you cannot miss points. Even if you have to settle for a field goal, you got to hit the field goals. So that's first one, kicking game. Second, injuries. You probably saw this week that Rashawn Gary's mother had to come out into social media and defend her son, saying he's been injured since before the season, that he's played through it till I think like with Northwestern game he re-injured it, went to the locker room, came back. Wisconsin game he didn't play that one. He didn't play Michigan State. So it's kind of like, when's he going to come back? First and foremost, Gary, always look out for number 1. You're playing for Michigan. You're putting yourself on the line for us. You're getting millions of dollars in the NFL. He's a first-round draft pick. The only question is he going to come back for a senior year so he can be like a top 5 draft pick versus he's predicted to be like a top 20 draft pick? It's kind of hard to not go as a first-round draft pick, especially if you're, in football you get injured. There's no guarantee. Just look at Jake Butt. He played in the bowl game, got injured. That really set him back. So I'm never going to put down a player who thinks, I'm going to rest instead. Normally you see that kind of after injuries or at bowl games, right? You had McCaffrey, you had Fournette doing that. Of course, now this year, Joey Bosa is doing that. He's sitting out the rest of the year for Ohio State so he can just focus on his recovery. He might have been out anyways. He hasn't even had a chance to even see the doctor yet, Bosa. So I don't know. I just don't think Gary's going to be doing that based on what his mother said. But Gary, come back when you're 100% healthy. Don't take this the wrong way, but our defense is doing okay without you. I would love to see you. I want you back. I hope you can come back. But only come back when you're ready. Okay? Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to the Twitter. Come back when you're ready. And I hope we get to see you again, but you know what? Come back when you're ready. And another one, Tariq Black. He played one snap, or I think he got on the field for one play at Michigan State, then we called a timeout. He didn't play anything else, based on the reports I saw. Obviously, he has the bye week to kind of get reps with Patterson again, and then next week. Talking to some Michigan fans, they're thinking maybe he'll have like 6 to 10 plays versus Penn State, then maybe 10 to 20 in the next game, and then I think that's at Rutgers, and then, maybe 20 to, 10 to 20 again versus Indiana, and then hopefully by the Ohio State game he can be in there on regular rotation. So it seems with him, hopefully it's just getting him back into game shape, game reps, right? So hopefully he can be back. Also, our O-line, Betty, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. He got injured in Michigan State game. He's been one of our better linemen. Obviously, our line's been doing great. How injured is he? Harbaugh did not give any updates. So those injuries are 3 big things. That's my second thing on the list. How are Gary, Black, and Betty gonna continue on? When they coming back, if they are coming back. My third thing, the offense. Obviously, we knew our defense was going to be good, and it is outstanding. But what about the offense? Where are we going to go from here? Are we going to do more of that zone read play? That works outstanding. It did great against Wisconsin. It did great against Michigan State. I would think you're not going to see a ton of that after Penn State. I bet we use it again versus Penn State, but then you're not going to see it much versus Rutgers and Indiana unless you need to, because you don't want Patterson to get hurt. I think that's why Michigan did not run those plays at all after the first 6 weeks of the season, because you don't want Patterson taking hits. He holds onto the ball. He might take a big hit. A lot of times he gets to run out of bounds. A lot of times he dives. Great. So after Penn State, I think they kind of pushed that on the shelf again and then save that for Ohio State. But what does that do to our offense? You have Black coming back. Are we going to run 4 receiver sets with, Black, Peoples-Jones, Collins, and, I can't think of number 88 offhand. Or you put a big tight end out there with him instead. Are you going to be doing less tight end formations, less fullback? It's going to be interesting to see how the offense functions now with Tariq Black coming in. Are we going to change the offensive plays and all that? It'll be interesting to see. So those are my 3 key thoughts at the Michigan bye week. What are your things you're looking forward to? Are there any things that concern you going forward versus Penn State, Ohio State, and the rest of the games? Never look over anyone. But I'll be honest, I'm very happy to see Wisconsin has to play Northwestern. See how that goes. Purdue at Michigan State. I wouldn't mind if Purdue just blew them out. Of course, I don't really care for Michigan State too much. And then, of course, big time, it's very helpful that Penn State has to host physical Iowa this week. Kind of soften them up a little bit before they come to Michigan next week. But we'll see how that goes. So, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, any thoughts, put them in the comments below. And again, thumbs up if you like it. If you really like it, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, go blue!